Saugata Basure, Managing Director, Castrol India. Hi, good morning and welcome to the show. You've delivered a strong set of numbers with robust growth in both revenue and profits. What were the biggest factors that helped you achieve this performance?
I think the first point I would say is yes, it's been a very strong quarter. It's been a continuation of our journey of executing a strategy that we had laid out about a year back. In this quarter, we have benefited from growth across our three businesses: the consumer business, institutional, and industrial. All of them have grown well in terms of volume. We've also had a very volatile quarter in terms of raw material availability and increase in prices. We have taken calibrated price increase across our portfolio in the second quarter. And the last bit is we continue to expand our reach into rural India in a big way. All of this has come together to help us deliver the numbers that you've seen. Having said that, we are quite cautious about quarter three for us, which is July to September, because some of the raw material price increase which we have seen towards the end of last quarter will flow through into the next quarter. And we're looking at both these quarters together to see how do we manage the business within the guided range of 21 to 24% EBITDA.
All right, now the management, of course, has been very cautious about the second half due to inflation and uneven monsoons. What kind of key risks are you watching out for, and how prepared really are you to deal with them?
So we remain alert to signals on demand, and specifically we see, we will read the impact of an uneven monsoon, which seems to be the case right now. That has a bearing on demand in agri as well as in the rural sector. We are also working, as we have done last quarter, we'll continue to do that this quarter, be very focused on costs because we want to ride out the raw material volatility. Having said that, we also want to balance out our pricing actions with the requirement of making sure consumers find our products to be accessible. And therefore, we will take calibrated pricing action if and when we see that there is also a raw material inflation which accelerates if it does. So that's the way we're looking at third quarter. It's going to be remaining volatile, but we will continue to operate the business to deliver long-term return of EBITDA around 21 to 24%.
All right. Have you been able to fully pass on higher input costs to consumers, or do you expect more pricing actions going forward?
So I would say we have taken a low single-digit price increase in the second quarter. At the moment, that covers for the inflation that has come through, and is a bit more inflation that we expect in the raw material prices which will spill over to quarter three. We are also doubling down on investing on the brand and working with our channel partners and key customers to help them settle down to the new pricing. As we look ahead, if the raw material prices further inflation on raw material prices further accelerate, then we will evaluate whether we need additional price increase. At the moment, with the raw material prices the way they were in the last quarter, we have managed to pass through the pricing actions that were required of us.
Now, the company has continued to strengthen its supply chain. So do you sort of expect input costs or supply availability to remain stable through the rest of the year?
The positive in this is we have a diversified global supply chain, and that's not just in response to the last quarter. That's something we've worked towards for many years now. So that was a strength that played out in last quarter. We remain alert to signals of disruption in the supply chain. The external environment still remains very volatile. So we are cautious, but we think we have a good plan in place. And if we need to respond in case things aggravate, then we have contingencies to work on.
Despite an uncertain environment, margins improved significantly this quarter. That's what we've seen. But do you think these margins are sustainable, especially in the environment of such high crude volatility?
Yes, the margins have been very strong for Castrol last quarter. Having said that, let me just go back to the point that we have always guided our EBITDA margin to be in the range of 21 to 24%. That's the range within which we want to run our business. Last quarter, which is the quarter of April to June, it was above that range. And as I said, the volatility anticipated in quarter three, it may go around a bit, it may move around a bit. But having said that, we will ride out the volatile operating environment we think it'll settle down eventually, and we will run the business to be in the range of 21 to 24% EBITDA. We will take actions as they're required to mitigate the action of raw material price inflation and also make sure that we are overcoming any supply chain disruption if there is in the future.
All right, just turning our attention now to the automotive market. Where are you seeing a stronger demand today? Is it passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, or two-wheelers?
Well, the good thing is India has got a macro growth story. If you step back and look at the big picture, penetration of personal mobility in India still remains under-indexed compared to many other markets at similar stage of development. So we see all-round growth opportunity in cars, in two-wheelers, in commercial vehicles as well on the back of logistics growth. I think for us, the big theme has been to determine where that growth is coming from. It's not a homogeneous growth across the country. So we have got clusters in rural India where we see a lot of growth coming on two-wheelers. 2 out of 3 new two-wheelers are sold in rural India. And that's why we've been pushing very hard into rural India to build our infrastructure and reach last few years. We now have around 950 rural service express for two-wheeler owners in rural India, and that's expanding fast. In urban centers, we see a growth largely on premium SUVs, and those are our focus area for premiumizing our business. So we see a lot of growth in our cars business coming from urban clusters. And then logistics and agri are macro stories. Logistics continues to grow on the back of increase in commerce, and we are well positioned to participate in that.
Right, Mr. Basure, appreciate your joining us on ET Now. Thank you very much.